Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 981A, and today's date is May 26, 2016, and the title of the episode is Obamacare Insurers Have Already Received Billions in Taxpayer Bailouts. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we're getting more and more information about retail, and retail is not doing as well as everyone thinks it is. And more stores now are reporting in, and we're starting to see a pattern grow where all the sales are declining. J. Crew, they reported in, and they're looking at a decline of 7% last quarter. Sears saying their first quarter loss is much worse than they thought, and we see Kmart is also included in this. And when we look at the entire retail sector right now, we're seeing store after store after store decline in sales. Best Buy right now is saying that their revenue has slid, and we're seeing about an 8% decline internationally. And they've closed many different stores. They've closed the superstores and some Best Buy mobile locations to help out with their sales, to help out with their revenue. And we see this happening a lot in retail, where they're letting go a lot of people. They're closing stores to try to boost the image that retail is still working and everything is okay. But we're starting to see that this is further from the truth. Everything is continually declining. And this is because the people, they just don't have the funds to go out and start to purchase the goods. And we can see right now from all these layoffs that are coming down the pike and all the layoffs that have come down the pike, it's getting worse and worse out there. Now, what's very odd about all of this is the corporate media and the U.S. government, through manipulation, they're trying to convince everyone that, of course, retail is okay. And also, actually, retail doesn't even matter in the economy anymore. And housing is just booming. Now, I looked around the country, and let me tell you, housing prices are dropping. Houses are on the market longer and longer, and a lot of people can't even sell. I went around the neighborhood where I am, and I started talking to people that have their houses for sale. And I asked them how long do they have them for sale. And they're saying there's no traffic whatsoever. The realtors don't understand what's going on. They're scratching their heads. And the realtors are just continually saying, drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. And this reminds me of prior to 2008 when the realtors had no idea what was going on. But today we had pending home sales. And remember, pending home sales doesn't mean the sale has gone through. People filled out applications. They want to purchase, they're pending, doesn't mean they follow through. And this is a very easy way to manipulate the housing market. And it soared by 5.1%. So people aren't out there purchasing goods in retail stores. Retail stores are declining. More and more people are losing jobs, but everyone's out there purchasing homes. Do you see the problem with this? It makes no sense. Now, of course, when we continually look at this, we see that there are major problems. Remember, the central bankers, the United States government, they report on the cities that they can control, the areas that they created the bubbles. And remember, they have a lot of hedge funds, a lot of investment companies, a lot of foreign investors who are pouring in the free money to purchase and gobble up all these houses. Now, of course, it doesn't mean anyone's living in them. They rent them if they can, but they're told to hold on to them. And this is what we're seeing now. The American people, they're sitting on the sidelines today. They're not even involved. And as we go throughout this summer, because remember, the summer is the hot time, no pun intended there, for real estate. This is when they make the sales because everyone wants to get in before school starts. Of course, during the summer, it makes it a lot easier to move because it's warmer weather, nicer weather, and you don't have to worry about snow. You don't have to worry about the cold. You don't have to worry about ice. Now, when we go throughout this year, just like we did last year, we're going to see that sales don't go anywhere. And when we look at the graph and we step back and we look at this, actually, it's a flat line. They're just keeping it steady and making everyone believe that everything is okay. Now, core durable goods, they have tumbled by 0.8% month-on-month and 6.7% year-on-year, down 15 of the last 18 months. However, they did some revisions across the entire time series, And all of a sudden they added in a lot more military spending and non-defense aircraft, and that pushed core durable goods up to make it look like everything is fine. And of course, you see it all over the corporate media, and they're out there saying that, look, this is fantastic. Durable goods, it's doing well. We're seeing a return of the economy. Everything is fine. No, everything is not fine. They're manipulating the numbers to make it look like everyone is out there purchasing. And if we go back to June of 2014, we saw non-defense aircraft, the new orders, back in June of 2014. It just skyrocketed. And then, boom, it fell right back to where it was after that. It's put into place to make everyone believe that everything is fine. They did it once again today to make it look like everything is okay. We see the Baltic Dry Index. It has fallen by 4 points. It's down to 601. And we see right now that as we move forward, as the economy continually slides and declines and implodes on itself, the U.S. government, the central bankers, are going to continually come out and try to manipulate as much as they possibly can to keep everyone in the dark, to make everyone believe that everything is fine. Just like we reported on Europe, where they're using the same exact practices of the unemployment numbers. This is why out in Europe, the unemployment numbers have stayed steady. I mean, it'd be kind of ridiculous if they brought the numbers way, way down and everyone had no job. People would wake up and say, wait, something's wrong here. And we see here in the United States, we see out in Europe, everything is manipulated. There's money printing all over the place. Banks are manipulating the gold, the silver market, the interest rates. Banks are failing everywhere. And as time goes on, this is going to continually happen. It's not going to stop. And up until the very, very end, they will never admit there is a problem. They'll tell you that everything is fine. Even when you're out on the street and you need, $100 to buy a loaf of bread, they're going to tell you everything is okay. Because what the government does is that they lie. They can never tell you the truth. They can never tell you what's really happening, so they have to do lie after lie after lie. For instance, like Obamacare. Now, we know this is not a benefit to the people. We know this did not help the American people. We know that the Congress, the president, and the rest of the government employees, they exempted themselves from the insurance because they knew it wasn't good. They had something better. But it was good enough for the people. There's something in Obamacare called the Transition Reinsurance Program. And it was designed as a 3-year experiment to help guard against major premium hikes by offsetting the high cost to insurers of providing health care coverage to the least healthy Americans. And what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to smooth out the losses for insurance companies operating in Obamacare. So when those insurance companies didn't do so well and they lost money, they would receive these funds. If they did very well, they would give back some funds to this reinsurance program. But what we're seeing right now is that this TRP, it's paying out more than it's taking in. Because what is happening is that Obamacare is a complete failure. And there are billions, about 15 billion already, that has been paid out to insurance companies. Now, what's very interesting about all of this, when a company here in the United States that is privately owned, when it loses money, does the government step in and make the difference up in their losses? No. And I'm not talking about GM. I'm not talking about the major banks that are all intertwined in the government. I'm talking about a small company. 25, 50 people, 100 people. No. Those companies, it's their responsibility. It's either they make sales, they bring in revenue, or they go bankrupt. But the insurance companies who signed on to this, and you have to remember what they did, is they thought, listen, we'll get every single American using Obamacare. We'll be able to raise the premiums to whatever we want. Makes no difference because there's no more competition. We're all in this together. And the government, with their penalties, the people have no choice. Because if they don't go into the insurance, they'll get penalized. And they thought this was going to work. And it's having the opposite effect. Because people just don't have the funds to pay for this expensive insurance. So what's happening right now is the insurance companies, and we see a lot of the exchanges, they're closing down the insurance companies. They're losing money, but don't worry, they have this TRP, which makes up the difference. And all this money is coming from taxpayers. So you're paying the premium, you're paying the penalty, you're paying your taxes, and the insurance company, they're not taking losses. The government is taking your money and making sure that these insurance companies are absolutely fine and they don't lose any money. So once again, the people are paying for companies' losses. The people are being taxed. The people are not getting a benefit. Welcome to fascism. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.